Hi, my ladies. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, because we are spread all over the world. So happy to be able to come before you once again, this time bringing another Jersey girl and I know I'm not being selfish by only bringing Jersey girls, but it just so happens, we're cool like that. But I wanted to bring you my special guest today, April, who is here in Mexico. And we were just talking about that earlier, how, again, Francesca and I were talking about the same thing. We come from, we were neighbors practically, and now we're here in the same country. And life is just so interesting how it all evolves. Well, hopefully your day number, whatever it is of quarantine, is going good. We're going to talk a little bit about life in Mexico. April is actually in another part, not really near me. April, welcome to our chat. So nice to have you.
Thank you, Caroline. It's so nice to be here. And thank you for doing this.
Oh, thank you. It's my pleasure. So, first of all, where are you in Mexico?
I'm in the state of Michoacan, and I'm in a little town called Pátzcuaro, which is situated on a lake, Lake Pátzcuaro, and it's about 45 minutes from the nearest city, which is Morelia. And it's a normal sized city, but it's very laid back, very low key, very chill. Not a lot of expats here, and so that was one of the reasons why we picked it, because you definitely have to speak Spanish.
So you are here with your husband. How long have you lived in Mexico?
We moved to Mexico in 2015.
Okay.
We moved to the state of Guanajuato, and then 2 years ago we moved here to Michoacan.
I haven't asked this yet of any of the ladies that I've talked with. What does it feel? Did you have any resistance from folks back home when you were considering moving to Mexico?
Not really, because, I've always traveled a lot, and I've been saying for years, like at least 10 years before we moved here, I gotta get out of the state. So I don't think anybody was surprised. So there wasn't really resistance, and most of my nuclear family had already moved to different parts of the country, so it wasn't like we were all together. And if we talk long distance like we're doing now anyway. So we were like, okay, hey, we're calling in from Mexico instead of New Jersey, so it's okay.
So the part of Mexico that you live is not too well known for peace and quiet. Michoacan, when you hear that, most people think of, gangs and cartels and killings and, that stereotypical Mexico. What can you say as a resident about where you live?
I'm going to say, as far as that's concerned, I'm sure there are, like in any city, like in any place, there are good things happen and bad things happen. So I'm sure there are some kind of, things that aren't so good. But to be honest, in the 2 years that I've lived here, I have never encountered anything. I don't know of anyone who has encountered anything that is, negative in that sense, with gangs or whatever. I'm just not aware of it, but I'm also not afraid. I mean, it's a little town, the streets close up at 8 o'clock at night. So it's not like it's stuff happening, places to go. So I feel very safe. And it's funny that you say that, because when I tell other Mexicans that I live in Michoacan, they're like, no hay peligroso. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, funny. That's true. That's true. That's like the cartel capital of the world there, Michoacan. Yeah. Well, I think that's good to know, because a lot of women, who are contemplating, we do have a lot who have, like myself, honestly, before I moved here, I hadn't even had Mexico on my short list of countries to move to. It just didn't seem appealing to me at the time. When I had to choose a place, it kind of just came all at once. But I'm glad that you're able to let people know that the stereotypes, unless you live here and you're here on the ground, I mean, Mexico is totally not what a lot of people put it up to be. So you're here and we're in quarantine. What is it like there, being in a little tiny Todd town in Mexico? What is it like for you there day to day in this quarantine?
Well, it's so funny that asked that. I don't feel confined. I really don't feel confined. Although I'm not going outside, I can go up on the terrace and walk around on the terrace. I have a beautiful view of the mountains and the countryside, and sitting up there and the sun is out, and so it's gorgeous. And so, I can do that. And obviously with the internet, I'm sure it would be a lot different without, some form of electronic communication, but I use the time to stay connected with folks. I call my girlfriends all over the world and see how everybody's doing. What's happening in your neck of the woods? What's happening over there in Amsterdam? What's happening over there in Kenya? So I'm using the time to stay in touch with people. And so it really, even though we have to stay indoors, or that we choose to stay indoors, I don't feel a lack of anything at this point. It's been about a week or so that we really haven't been going out, and so far it still feels, still feels okay.
Do you have access to like the big ticket stores like Walmart and those type of places, the big supermarkets? Well, when I say access, how far away are you?
Okay, so so what we have in town are we have a wonderful fruit and vegetable market that takes up acres of space in the center of town. So that's a lovely place. I'm not going to it now because it's very, has little alleyways, and it's, very close quarters.
Sure.
And so
Sure.
But as far as, and we have two, I guess, Mexican supermarket chains who are here. We have Bodega Aurrera and we have Soriana. But as far as a major store, there's no mall here. There's no big supermarket. There's no Costco. And the closest one is in Morelia, which again is about 45 minutes away. So it's not far. It's easy to get to. But there's just two of us here. So, and we don't need 3,000 rolls of toilet paper. So we're okay. And they're not running out. There's plenty of toilet paper in the little stores here. So as far as shopping is concerned, we do mostly shop locally for everything that we need, and so far it hasn't, it's not a problem at all.
This isn't going to be a very obvious question, but I wanted to hear you express it. What has your quality of life been since you lived in Mexico?
Quality of life in what sense, Carolyn?
In as compared to living in the United States.
Okay, you mean quality like as far as just access to activity?
Yeah, well, okay, I'll rephrase that. So how would you compare living the way you live in a small town in Mexico to living in wherever the last place that you lived in the United States? How do you compare it?
Okay, that's a good question. So the last place we lived in the United States was in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, right before we moved here. Again, kind of in Yardley, a kind of small town. And I find I'm not a small town girl per se. I grew up in a city, but it wasn't a huge city. And so for me, the quality of life and what I have access to here is not very different, in the sense that I can get to the things that I like to do, the things that are important to me, as far as culture, as far as music, as far as theater, etc. A lot of it is just, like I said, 45 minutes away in the larger city. So we will go there, for example, to go to the Live at the Met Opera. And we didn't do that in New Jersey, so those things are very close, they're very accessible, they're very affordable. What I would say the difference is here is, and this is a difference that I have grown to like, while we have access to a lot of things, we don't necessarily have a lot of choices in one day. So for example, whereas at home, it's like, oh, which theater are you going to go to tonight? And, thousands of screens within, each one. Or are you going to go to the Carter Theater? You're going to go to the theater in Pennsylvania. Here, there's like one thing, or maybe two things that are happening. So like, which place are you going to go? But there's enough variety and enough choice that I don't feel restricted. I don't feel, you know, I don't really feel a lack in terms of access to the things that are important to us that we like to do, you know, on a daily basis or weekly basis. So for me, the quality of life is, you know, I want to say better because I feel I have access to what I need in a calm environment, in a tranquil environment, in a friendly environment, welcoming environment. And there's just not a lot of hustle and bustle and hubbub around. I don't feel inundated, like even in this time that we're in right now with the pandemic. But I choose not to expose myself to a lot of, you know, the chatter, whether true or false, because I don't feel like that is helping me here. It's not, you know, I need to know what to do here. And so I feel like the quality of life is, if not equal, better. It's a choice that I'm thrilled that we made. I wouldn't have it any other way. We have no desire to, you know, move anywhere else. This is home.
And the reason I asked that question is, again, for the benefit of women. You're retired, correct?
I'm retired.
There's a lot of women who are coming up on retirement shortly. And, you know, this is a big question. I think for anyone that wants to live abroad, you know, what quality of life or what lifestyle do you want? Because many, you know, in all of the expat groups, people say, oh, you know, where should I live? Where should I go? I make $2,000 a month. Where should I move to? What's a good place? What's a good neighborhood? And really, I think, you know, I kind of cringe when people ask that question, because really it depends on your lifestyle choice. You know, what do you want for a lifestyle? For example, you and your husband, you prefer the laid back, small town, you know, access to natural local feel. It's a real local feel. Other people, you know, they would go crazy living in that type of environment. They want to be in the big city, fast going. So really, you know, when you're thinking about moving abroad, that is the first thing that you really should ask yourself. Okay, what kind of lifestyle do I want? Do I want peaceful, serene, or do I like to be in a big city where I'm with Walmart and McDonald's and Burger King and all that kind of stuff? So that was the reason I really wanted to ask you, quality of life, is it different being in a small town from, say, being, you know, where I am in a big city like Merida? This is you know, almost 1 million people live here. And, you know, you're from a smaller, so your experience is going to be totally different from mine.
You know, it's so interesting to ask that because, you know, a very good friend of mine who is a global sister, she travels a lot. And, you know, when she's asked that question, her answer to it always stuck with me, because she said, because she has been so many different places, different countries, et cetera. And she says it's not so much a matter of where you want to live, but how you want to live. Like that's your question, because you're taking yourself with you wherever you go.
It's true.
So who you are, you know, you're going to make, I think the most of us, especially people who are open to be in a different place, you know, have a spirit of adventure, have a spirit of looking for, I mean, you're just like, you know, you're ready for something new, you're ready to welcome that in. And if you're that type of person, you're going to be able, I believe, you're going to be able to make yourself at home wherever you are. So one important thing is not just what the environment is like, or, you know, physically what it's like. Are you by a beach? Are you in the mountains like we are? But how do you want to live? Because that's really going to determine what you should be looking for, you know, as you look for a place to be.
Yeah, that is so true. So just maybe going back a little bit, what industry, what did you do before you, what did you retire from?
Oh, I retired from, I was a usability engineer for many, many years, both for in telecommunications and then for a private company for about 20 years. So I retired from consulting with companies and corporations who wanted to help both train their people and implement usable solutions for their digital products. So making things easy to use, basically.
Oh,
when you go to a website, you can't figure out how to, you know, order something. It's not you, it's the website. So my job was to make the website easier.
Oh, how interesting. Do you go back to the U.S. often? Do you get a chance to go back to visit?
I don't go back regularly. I do go back, like I just went back in the beginning of this year for a very dear friend's surprise birthday party. So I went for that. I went last year as well. But so maybe about once a year, once every 18 months or so. But, you know, I don't, as I said, my family, I keep in touch with them, not so much by seeing them in person, but, you know, in this kind of venue. So I don't go, thankfully, I don't have to go, and I don't go there that often.
I guess the last things. Do you have any takeaway from this whole COVID-19 crisis? I mean, your takeaway as far as what will life be like in the future, just in your opinion? What do you think our life will be like after this is over, after it's all said and done, or the dust has settled?
Well, I certainly think that one of the things that I'm noticing, and again, this is because of the field that I'm in, or I was in, whereas there used to be, I think that, you know, what we're seeing now with this kind of virtual interaction, and that now we're forced to do that more, I don't see us going backwards to letting a lot of that go, because people are going to realize, like, oh, I don't have to rent this space and have, like, for example, my yoga teacher, I don't have to rent a space and, you know, pay money to have people come. We can do it online. We can do our community there. So I think that the technological support is here to stay in ways that have been accelerated because of this. I think that people are, you know, thinking of how to run businesses and how to have clients and how to make your living in a virtual world is also going to be accelerated. So I think that I don't see us rolling back from that totally, but I also think that one of the takeaways is that your comfort and your solace and your peace is something that, you know, you can have that wherever you are. So if you're in, and I don't want to make light of this, but because it's a critical situation, but if you're in this kind of a pandemic where it's a health crisis, or if you're in a place where it might not be as safe as another place, you can, you know, you have the ability to manipulate your own life so that you can still feel at peace with yourself, even though there's crisis, you know, all around you. I don't say that lightly, but, you know, I firmly believe that we take our peace within.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree. Any words of advice? You are obviously a woman, a couple, of family that's thriving abroad. Any advice for women that would like to take that step in the future towards a life where they can thrive abroad?
Well, yes, I actually do, because I started thinking about moving abroad as a single woman. I was single up until just the last 15 years. So I've been thinking about this for a long time. And I think that number one is to know that now I think there's even a stronger network of women and sisters who are in different places. And so I would highly recommend, and there are the tools, the apps, the Facebook groups, et cetera, like yours. Thank you.
Ours.
The one you started, but yes, ours, thanks to you. But I think I would highly recommend people to take advantage of getting to know people virtually, and like this forum, and finding out about other people's experiences, connecting with people individually, and realize that we're out there, you know, and not be afraid to take the leap. And I think that's one of the things that I know for a while held me back. Like, you know, are we ready? Do we have enough money? Do we have this? Do we have that? You know, maybe, you know, wait just another year. And then you have to just say, jump. Just stand there and just jump, because you're not going to fall on your face. You're going to land. And with so many sisters living abroad, you are going to land with other people like you who are looking for the same thing, and you'll be able to support each other, as well as, you know, people locally who, you know, are reaching out as well. So don't be afraid to do it, I guess would be the main takeaway. Do it. Try it.
Absolutely. You know, when I left the United States 13 years ago, and I always tell people this, there was no Facebook group. There were no expat forums. There was nothing for me to reference, you know, let alone any other Black women, sisters, no one. So I was virtually by myself, just, you know, diving into the river. And I can appreciate what you said. Just do it. I mean, now there's so much more support, so many more of us that have pioneered the way for other women. So it's a totally different ballgame now. It's so
Have no
much
regrets.
easier.
Just go for it. Go
Just
for it.
go for it. Well, thank you, April. This has been a joy. Thank you so much for the chat, and hopefully the takeaway for others will be, do it. We're all in this together, and stay strong, and we will have to stay connected.
Thank you so much for everything you do, Caroline. It's much
Oh,
appreciated.
thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.